All right, I was having some fun there with the music. Of course, that's the X-Files theme. A little bit of a teaser. We are here with Beth Jansen, the executive director at Bonanzaville. Hello, Beth.
Hello.
So, X-Files. Why did I play X-Files? What do we got coming on?
Because October, we have paranormal investigations going on all month.
Spooky.
Yeah, spooky. So they are Fridays and Saturdays, the month of October, 7:30 and 9:30 in the evening. Tickets can be purchased at bonanzaville.org, right on the front page of our website. And we have...
What's the admission fee on that?
The admission fee, the tickets are $50. That includes a 90-minute paranormal investigation tour of specific buildings, the buildings that are at Bonanzaville that are most likely or have the most paranormal activity in them. That also includes a free sandwich and soup bar, as well as adult beverages or sodas if you would like.
So you're getting fed.
You're getting fed,
and
then you get to go out and find the spooks.
It's an evening. It's an evening.
It's an evening event.
Thing, so of course from dark.
Right.
What time?
Right. So our first tour is at 7:30, and our second is at 9:30, and then the last weekend of the month we also hold a third, which is even later in the evening. It's like 11.
And each tour is $50.
Each tour, yes.
So if you wanted to go to it like 5 times, you got to shell out the $50 each time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can volunteer to be a guide, and next year you'd be able to do that.
That's the hack. So you're already filled up with guides.
We're filled up with this year, yes.
Okay.
And you have to have a little bit of experience anyways. You have to have some experience, so you've got to be at least go through a couple and then be trained.
So so you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
You got to not just.
Well, yeah, exactly. Most
you got to be a frequent flyer at least.
Most of our guides have actually, participated for a couple of years before they ever were interested in guiding, and then they kind of came in to get trained and then became guides.
So you said there's 4 different ones, 3 different ones.
So the next 2 weekends, there are 7:30 and 9:30 tours on both Fridays and Saturdays, and then the last weekend of the month, so the Halloween weekend, there is a 7:30 and 9:30 and 11:30 on both Friday and Saturday.
So there's 7 opportunities coming up.
Yes.
In total, how many people do you get coming through here?
Well, it's also it's unique because it's small. The group sizes are 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
And we only do 30 per session.
Okay.
So a maximum of 30, sometimes up to 32, 33, depending upon what size groups they want to bring in.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll have a whole family or a friend group or, even a work group.
Are there group discounts at all, or each person?
No group discounts.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, I'm trying to paint together the pictures. So you've got, maybe the average group size is like a dozen people, maybe?
No. Average group is like 6.
Okay.
6 or less.
Okay.
So groups of 6 to 8, potentially groups of 6 to 8, all relevant to how many investigators we have on each night. So it could be a smaller group, won't be a bigger group. So the most you will ever get is a group of 8. That's the most. The most. And most of the time we try and keep it smaller than that.
I see.
Usually the only time we have a group of 8 is when somebody brings in a group of 8 and they want to stick together.
Okay.
So we go with smaller groups, and we only have between 30 and 35 people in a session.
Okay.
So we will see, I want to say around 400, 420 in the course of the entire month.
Okay, so you kind of break up the groups.
Yes,
that's kind of where I'm trying to get
right.
to is so you show up there, the parking. We want to talk about the parking.
Parking is
plenty
free.
Of parking,
right
plenty
there.
of free parking. Great. So you got good parking. You park. You walk up. You're going to the regular old Bonanzaville building
you go
to
into
walk
our
into there.
gift shop. Yep. And then you go ahead and you get marked off basically because your ticket's already purchased, because those are purchased online.
Yep.
Unless you do show up, we do sometimes have tickets available at the door. I wouldn't recommend it, especially as you get later in the month, because we tend to sell out for these. You walk into the gift shop area and you're checked in, and then you head down the hall, which is decorated to be kind of Halloween-y.
Yeah.
Where you go into our boardroom area, which is all set up to with a bar and food, and you can
Not a
socialize
drinking
for
bar.
that. Yes, a drinking bar.
But then you got to pay for the drinks.
No.
Oh.
No, you have drinks that come with your ticket.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The alcoholic beverages come with the tickets.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Alcoholic
All right.
beverages.
So we're getting
and a
boozy.
free,
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Oh no.
I got that there's food.
We want to
you're gonna
social.
feel,
Yep. You gotta
okay.
you gotta have that social component going
So it's
on.
So for $50 it's almost $50 to go to a party and socialize and have dinner with people.
Yes, and then you head out at your certain time that everything's called at your 7:30. If you're a 7:30 tour, you go out at 7:30. You split up into your group. You're given equipment to explore with. the group has X amount of equipment with them. Your guide will give you tidbits about the buildings, and then you go into very dark and sometimes very spooky buildings to explore the paranormal.
So what are, I mean, I don't want you to give away the ghost, but what's the spooky stuff that's out there? I don't know that I've ever heard of it.
So we have several buildings. I tend to lean towards most of the buildings probably have something or have had some kind of activity in them. So what we do is we take you to the most popular buildings for activity. So where we've seen the most activity, that will range from photographs that reflections that aren't there, basically. One of my favorites is a current one from last year of a man looks to be in railroad garb, like possibly an engineer. His reflection when he obviously wasn't in the room because he wasn't on the tour. As well as we've seen the conductor reflections in one of our coach cars.
Wow.
Hearing kids outside of a building in the middle of the night, seeing birds in buildings that turned out to not be there, curtains moving in buildings that have no air conditioner, no heat, and no windows open, phones going off in different parts of the building, throughout the village, phones going off throughout the village when nobody's visiting, basically, after close, doors slamming, unexplained lights going off, orbs, things moving that shouldn't be moving, footprints that shouldn't be there.
And what do you think is causing all of these things? Are you a true believer?
So when I walked in at Bonanzaville, I was not.
Okay.
I did not believe in ghosts.
When you started being an executive director there?
When I started having kind of odd experiences myself. I've only had a couple that were a little bit on the odd side, but then hearing it from other people, from my staff, from visitors, from volunteers, after started repeating, it comes back over and over and in the same places. Someone will say, okay, in the Houston, I was hearing children play outside the Houston mansion. This is 10 o'clock at night. This is obviously, there's nobody there. And then having that same thing happen 3 months later, or a phone going off in one of the buildings when there's nobody to have been calling it. It's a closed system. It should not be happening. And then to have another building with another phone going off or so on, or having a visitor come up and say, why is there a woman dressed in 18th century garb sitting on a bed in the Houston mansion when I know for a fact that there's nobody sitting out there. Ooh, things like that. Those people coming over and over. So now, do I believe? Yes. Do I steer clear of the village at night? Yes. I'm not going to be on one of those investigations, but yeah.
You help yourself. Go have fun.
But help yourself. Go have fun if you're not the faint at heart, because I am.
So when the other people you're going to meet, I mean, is it often people who know each other, or are people making friends out there?
People, we sell tickets singles. We sell groups of 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
You might walk into new people that you've just met. You may have a really cool conversation with somebody that had been there the year before.
Yeah.
It's really a neat opportunity to fellowship about those things and talk about those things if that's what you're into.
And it's mostly going to be other true believers out there, right? You get the skeptics coming out there to ruin everyone's good time.
Well,
is there somebody who's I'm gonna spend $50 to go be a wet blanket?
No, usually we don't have wet blankets, but we do a lot of the paranormal experts that have come to us. So we just had I believe Fargo Paranormal out helping last week, and we've had North Dakota Paranormal, Midwest Haunting, different organizations that do this have come out, and they usually will help us investigate, or at least help us train, and then they will stay overnight and those types of things. And a lot of them have told me that their job is to debunk what's happening. It's not really necessarily to find ghosts. It's to find out if they can, if they're really there.
Yeah.
And so far we have not been debunked. So
very cool.
Yeah. And so we usually have at least one group that stays overnight during the year.
I want to touch on one. I want to go back to one more thing, and then we're going to move to our next segment. Okay. Tell me more about the booze on offer there.
Okay, so we do wine and beer. Wine, beer, and seltzers is all we do. We just because we have a portable bar. 2 drinks come with your ticket,
Great.
And then, like I said, free sandwich and soup bar as well.
Very good.
And then we always have a sweet treat.
Okay. Very good. My mouth is watering.
I'm working on a special drink for our last weekend.
Oh.
So something like a zombie or something green.
Something to go
cool.
themed with Halloween.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that is all the time for drinks that we have. We're going to take a quick intermission, and when we come back, we'll do Fargo Fresh. So don't go nowhere.